Hey there everyone, Dr. Beth Westy here, and I wanted to jump on tonight and talk about some issues that women have a lot of the time every month with PMS and some really important things that you can do to help turn this around. Now, I do have a lot of information already out there, so if you are looking for something specific related to women's health, hormones, that type of a thing, I have my book, The Female Fat Solution, which is on Amazon. I also have my podcast, The Female Health Solution. And then there's also my YouTube channel, which is Dr. Beth Westy, where I cover a ton of different information for women in detail. So a lot of my videos are archived there that you can find. So subscribe so you can keep up to date on everything. But when we talk about PMS, this is something that really not as talked about enough and can really cause a lot of women a lot of problems, right? The tough thing with this is that there's no plan for women to follow typically, right? You're like, oh, you're not feeling good. Oh, that's normal. It's normal. It's become normalized for us to accept that we feel like crap, maybe for an entire week before our period starts, or, oh, well, that's just normal. No, right? There's a lot of different variations of this. There is a lot of different, the frequency, intensity, all these other things for symptoms can really differ, month to month, female to female, all of these things. But here are some things that I know without a doubt. And this comes from working with women for so long, helping thousands of women with their health, with their hormones, and change everything is that when you start leaning into working with your body instead of fighting against it, you will notice a huge shift and change in how you are feeling, your results, and everything else. So this is something I have a webinar I'm going to be doing. It's going to be Sunday night at 7 o'clock. I'll put a link below this video so you can click the link, sign up for the webinar. It is going to be free, right? It is just more information about how you can eat for your hormones, how you can really, take advantage of, the different hormones that you have, which sounds kind of funny, right? Why would take advantage of that, right? That's not something that women typically do. Normally, this is something that, is like a curse for us all the time. Ugh. I can't even tell you how many women I've worked with that have noticed, oh my gosh, my symptoms are less, or I barely have them. I barely notice them. My cycle is more regular. This is really great. I'm not, feeling the pain like I was. I'm not, incapacitated. I have so many women that tell me things like, I would have to be in bed for days because it would be so awful and I'd be in so much pain. And then following some simple things for your body change all of that. And that's what I'm going to be going into detail, how to do that, why this happens. This is a couple of reasons why, but there's even more I'm going to dive into on this webinar, so you don't want to miss it, because this may really uncover a lot of things for you and the struggles that you may be having. So that's why I'm doing this webinar. So I'm gonna talk about a couple of these things here, but in the webinar I'm gonna be diving in next steps to take and exactly what to do. So one of the things that when we look at this is also something not enough people talk about this, right? This is one of those subjects that people are like, oh, keep it under wraps, or, it's women's bodies are made to be punchlines, right? There's jokes about this. I mean, how many, comic strips, TV shows, movies, all these other things, right? That you can think of that this is a joke to a lot of people. And one of the things, when this happens for women and it's a problem, it's not a joke. It's not a joke, right? So this is what I love to talk about because it really does impact women's lives, their health, and everything else. And this is just, my mission is to educate women more on their nutrition and their health so that you can be healthier and take action yourself. Be proactive for your own body and how it works and functions so that you are ahead of the game. So you're not trying to catch up. Because that's what the problem is for a lot of women is they're like, oh, this is a problem, this is an issue, but you're already behind trying to catch up. This lets you get ahead of the game. All right. So the first thing here that causes a lot of these, issues here with PMS is really lack of nutrient. And here's the thing, honestly, that I struggle with so much. I'm going to try not to get super mad and start sweating, but I might. I can't tell you how many times I have read, heard, it's everywhere. I remember reading in magazines, all these other things oh, when you're bloated and you have PMS, you should drink more water and limit your salt intake and but you're craving salty foods and all this other stuff. Do you know why? Do you know why you're craving salty foods? Because your body needs the minerals. Your body, right here, in this phase especially, this here, your body needs more. So this is, day 1 is the first day of your period. Day 14 is about when you ovulate. Day 28 is when it ends. When you are in this phase here, right? This is this phase, the PMS phase here. You know what your body needs? More nutrients. It needs more salts. It needs more minerals. It also needs more water and hydration, right? Because your blood volume is changing. There's all these other, things chemically that are happening in your body that are totally different than any other time during the month for you. Yay, right? Yay. But, this is one of those things that would make me crazy when I started going through and learning all this stuff. I'd be like, oh my gosh, they keep telling women, don't eat salt. It's so bad for you. It dehydrates you. And I'm like, you know what? During this time, you need to hydrate. You need to hydrate with sugars and salts and have, water with that as well. Because that is how hydration gets uploaded into your cells during this phase. Otherwise, you're going to drink water, and still feel thirsty and still be craving salt. Yeah. Why? Because your body needs the minerals, right? That's your body telling you something. It's saying, hey, I need more nutrient. I need more nutrient. Without that nutrient, you have side effects. So you get that bloat from drinking so much water because you're not uploading it into your cells. You're not getting hydrated into your cells. It's great, right? Like you're doing all this work and it's just like working against you, right? There's other digestive changes and other things that happen. Of course, I'll be talking about more of that in the webinar. So again, sign up for that. It's, totally free. We're going to dive into a bunch of that stuff. But this is one of those things that women don't understand. Okay, this is a simple thing. So drink more, electrolyte drinks. I tell women to have a water bottle of water and a water bottle of electrolytes. Alternate back and forth here. It will change how you feel. It will make your day so much easier and better. It's like one simple little thing. So great. So great. Great. The other thing to note is that here, during this phase as well, your body needs more calorie. It literally needs more nutrient every day, 300 to 500 more calories. You should not be eating the same every day of the month. You shouldn't. Your body needs different things during different times of the month. So if you're eating the same all the time, I eat healthy, I eat clean, and why am I having all these issues? That's the problem. You're eating the same. You're following a flatline plan when women's bodies are not flatlined. Right? That you should be eating differently. So here, more nutrient, literally more food. A whole nother protein bar. It doesn't have to be a lot, but just something more. More food. And that's another thing too, women feel bad. We're taught to feel shameful about the fact that we want, I'm having this craving, or I crave more, chocolate, or I'm craving, fries or something like that. Well, it's salt and it's carb, two things that your body's needing more of at this point. Duh. So if you work it in a healthy way into your meal plan for the day, you're not going to have those cravings anymore. That's literally one of the number one things that when I start working with women about eating for their hormones and their cycle, and they have hard, cravings, or they struggle with that and it throws them off track a lot. They have bad PMS, all these things. When you start really acknowledging where your body's at and really working into the hormones and cycle, and, cravings will disappear. They won't be there. Your body has cravings because it is telling you it needs some nutrient. Yeah. Yeah. So very, very important. So those are things we're going to talk about more in the webinar as well. So again, get signed up for that. Another thing too is having unbalanced hormones, right? Another phrase I have a hard time with, balanced hormones, right? They're the same all the time. No, our bodies are supposed to ebb and flow with different hormone at different time. And if you're eating in accordance with that, you're helping that pattern, right, stay regular and regulated. What happens though is with stress, injury, illness, toxins, things like that, it can throw off where your pattern is normally. You can be estrogen dominant, you can have way too much progesterone, or this can be shifted here, right? Where they cross can be shifted. Now that's going to cause a whole other issue, right, that your body has to deal with. Can cause it more stress. So it's this whole fun, circular effect of, oh, well, I have stress, so it screws up my hormones, and then my hormones are screwed up, so that adds more stress to my body. Where do I start then? How do I help it? Eat for your hormones. Get a new baseline down. Get a new baseline for your body. Then no matter what stress you have, your body's always going to have this baseline to go off of. Game changer, complete game changer in terms of everything else. Most women look at and think, oh, you know, it's this time of the month, that's why I'm having that PMS, and think of like what's going on that day. Yes, you can hydrate differently. Yes, you can get nutrient differently. But that happens, some of that stuff happens just for that whole week. And then there's other things that you do the rest of the month to help with that, right? If you're like, oh, I have really bad PMS 2 days before. Okay, but you can make that a heck of a lot better, but you can't just focus on it those 2 days, right? It's like the entire month. And it's little changes, it's little tweaks using regular food that you eat every day that just align with where your body is naturally at. So it's super easy to say, oh my gosh, I'm on day, 14, I'm gonna start eating for progesterone, and that's gonna help me as I go into the end of the month. Yeah, seriously. It is such a game changer when you start to feel in control of your body, when you start to know and anticipate how it's going to react and respond. When and then if you have stress in your life or something else happens, you know how to support your body so that it doesn't completely throw things out of whack. Because I know, ladies, like when stress hits your system, it can just wreck everything. All the progress you've made, all these, leaps and bounds, and it can really make PMS horrible for you. Even more so than it already is. But so these are two of the biggest things that I talk about. So in getting more nutrient in, getting more, electrolytes, salts, all those things, hydration, hydrate differently during this time, get more nutrient total, in total as well. And there's other things that we'll talk about, during the webinar with that as well. And then having unbalanced hormones is another problem. So you help that baseline by every day, every week, eating for your hormones to give it that baseline, to give you that whole new result. So hopefully this kind of makes sense. It's a very different way of looking at the body. It's a very different way of supporting your system. But I've had immense luck, results with this. A lot of times women think, oh, the first time this changes, oh, maybe it's just whatever. It's just chance. It's just lucky. And I'm like, it's not luck. This is amazing when this starts to shift and change because it will change for you and it will stay that way. So this is a really important topic. Something women don't talk about near enough, but something that we're going to talk about and reference, and I'm going to dive into, again, why women have problems with this more, and really the steps to take from there on out in the webinar. So you don't want to miss it because I'm going to be covering a ton of info that I haven't covered before. Even more, if you can believe it. Even more. All right, so I'll put that link below again so you can sign up for the webinar. Thank you so much for watching. I super love and appreciate all the support I get from you guys. And if you find this helpful, please share it with somebody else who needs this message, because so many women are stuck and frustrated and don't know what to do, what steps to take. So my goal is just to provide them with some info so that they can take their health into their own hands. All right, that's what I got. I'll see you guys later.